Welcome to the Big Time Game Day. I'm David Lawson, and we'll be updating you on the latest ACC Bowl games. This is my first doing the ACC Bowls so far, but we'll catch you up on all the other ACC games that have took place so far. So let's just dive right into it because we got a game coming up at 11 o'clock. Pittsburgh versus East Carolina, and then at 12 o'clock, Penn State taking on Clemson, and then we have 3:30 Georgia Tech and BYU, and then at 7:30 Virginia and Missouri. I'll tell you about all of that and a whole lot more coming up. So so you won't be able to see. I mean, I'm not doing any of the comment section, so we'll just go with that. So, but you can comment on it through other stuff. But we're gonna catch you up on that. You can comment on everything once it's posted, because it'll post on once I complete all this stuff. But earlier, it was on December the 19th. North Carolina State took on Memphis, and they beat Memphis 31-7. And then we had the college football playoff, the first of others that'll come on, next week. I believe it is. I mean they'll play. I'll catch you up on that one. But Miami defeated Texas A&M 10-3, and they're going to play Ohio State. So the game that we'll talk about now is Pittsburgh and East Carolina. They're both 8-4, and the spread has Pittsburgh at 13.5. That is the latest on the spread. That's the Go Bowl and Military Bowl, the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Indianapolis, Maryland. And if you're going to that game, the weather should be around 40 degrees, in the 40s, something like that. It's going game time. So you got quarterback Hauser quarterback for ECU. He's passed for over 3,300 yards, 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and running back for ECU has 156 carries for 742 yards, 7 touchdowns this year. And wide receiver A. Smith has 60 receptions for 897 yards and 5 touchdowns. And we'll take you to. It doesn't mention anything about Pittsburgh, what they got. Well, but we could go to that. We'll just pull up their stats. So Mason Hydeshell, however you pronounce it, has 2,098 yards, close to 3,000 yards. He has 15 touchdowns. His QB yard is 54.5. And then J. Carrigan Turner, a running back, he has 652 yards, carries 124 for 7 touchdowns this year. Receiving yards, Kenny Johnson, wide receiver, has about 700 yards, 48 receptions for 5 touchdowns. So we'll move on over to the game between Penn State and Clemson. Penn State is 6-6. Clemson 7-5. And the Bad Boys Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. The spread is Clemson by 2.5. That you're thinking that'll be a close game, with the totals about 47.5. Over and under, you might say. Klubnik has 2,750 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions for the year, while Allen, the running back, Allen from PSU, Penn State, has 210 carries for 1,303 yards and 15 touchdowns. T.J. Moore for Clemson, the wide receiver, has 754 yards and 4 touchdowns. And the spread is Clemson by 2.5. Like I said, I expect this to be a pretty close game, but I don't know. I'm not making my picks on this one, but I sure will say that Clemson lost a lot during the transfer portal, probably lost quite a bit, and I'm not sure exactly where Penn State is at right now, but this game is about even according to the odd makers, so I'm not going to agree or disagree. So we'll move on to Georgia Tech. Well, they did lose quite a bit, but Barrett Bachmeier, he'll be playing at quarterback. He's passed for nearly 3,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and also for BYU, L. Marlin, running back, has 236 yards, carries, and 1,305 yards a game with 12 touchdowns. P. Kingdom, wide receiver for BYU, 61 receptions for 848 yards and 5 touchdowns. So we'll go to Georgia Tech since they're not going to say anything right now about it. Let's try to get there. So let's see here.
So our wedding's in a...
So Haynes King will be playing. He's passed for 2,697 yards, 12 touchdowns, with about a QBR of 75.6%. Is really, really good. Haynes King has 178 carries for 15 touchdowns. And Eric Rivers, the wide receiver, has 556 yards with 42 receptions for 1 touchdown. So the average is about 262 yards passing, 203 yards rushing. Scores about 32.6 points a game, and let's say 33.
Two, please. Make that 3 with D. Count 1.
So the spread for this game is BYU by 3.5. I expect that to be a close game. Over and under 55.5. So we move on over to the and you can find a lot of these games on ESPN, on ABC. The Georgia Tech BYU game comes on at 3:30 on ABC. That'll follow the Penn State Clemson game. You can watch the Pittsburgh and East Carolina on ESPN coming up at 11 a.m. So 7:30 p.m. tonight on ABC, Virginia versus Missouri. Virginia's 10-3, Missouri's 8-4. Missouri's favored by 4. They've had some transfer portal problems. They're going to lose some players, so that might be a difference in the game. They have Missouri, but I wouldn't be surprised if Virginia win it somehow. Let's see who's going to. Chandler Morris will be playing in the game. He hasn't decided anything yet, but he's making his decision whether to stay or what. But he's going to be there for the bowl. He ain't going to decide anything until the transfer portal opens on January 2nd. But anyway, Chandler Morris, quarterback for UVA, has about almost 3,000 yards with 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. A lot of good quarterbacks in the ACC this year. Hardy, the running back, out of Missouri, we'll talk about him. He has 241 carries with 1,560 yards, 16 touchdowns. And for Virginia, the wide receiver is Harris, 59 receptions for 847 yards, 5 touchdowns. So we do have other games that will be played today. We have at 4:30 on the CW network, Miami of Ohio taking on Fresno State. Fresno's a 5.5-point favorite. At 5:45 on ESPN, North Texas taking on San Diego State. North Texas is 11-2. San Diego State is 9-3. North Texas is favored by 6.5 with a total of an over and under 52.5. Then we got LSU on ESPN at 9:15 p.m. tonight. LSU taking on Houston. LSU is 7-5. Houston number 21 in the country, 9-3. Houston is favored by 1.5. They expect that to be a close game, with the over and under about 41.5. So that's pretty much all we have today on the other games. As far as these are all the bowl games today, but we have more coming up next week. So the games that have already taken place, and we'll cover the start of the season. Where it was a Washington defeating Boise State 38-10 in the bucked up LA Bowl. That was Saturday, December 13th. And if you missed the Army-Navy game, the Anglo-Navy game, that ain't no bowl, but that was played, and Navy defeated Army 17-16. The Navy will be going to a bowl. Then on Wednesday, December 17th, we had Old Dominion defeating South Florida 24-10 in the Staff DNA Cure Bowl. Old Dominion finished the season 10-3, South Florida 9-4. That was in the Staff DNA Cure Bowl. And then we had Wednesday, December 17th. Also, we had Delaware defeating Louisiana 2013. Louisiana finished 6-7, while Delaware finished 7-6. And then the next day on Thursday, December 18th, Arkansas State defeated Missouri State 34-28 in the Xbox Bowl. Both teams finished with 7 wins. Then we had the in the college football playoff final first round game, we had Alabama defeating Oklahoma 34-24. And then in the Myrtle Beach Bowl, we had both teams finishing 10-4. Western Michigan defeating Kennesaw State 41-6. And then on then one of the other college football playoff first round games, it was Oregon defeating James Madison 51-34. James Madison finished the season 12-2. And Oregon is going on, and they moved 12-1. Then we had Ole Miss also taking on Tulane in the college football playoff first round game, defeating Tulane 41-10. Ole Miss is going on with a 12-1 record. Tulane is at home now. They'll be watching from their TVs. He finished 11-3. Then Monday, December the 22nd, we had a bowl. Washington State defeated Utah State 34-21. Washington State finished 7-6. Utah State finished 6-7. That was for the season. Tuesday, December 23rd, Louisville defeated Toledo. Louisville out of the ACC. Anyway, they beat Toledo 27-22. That was a close game. And then final, Western Kentucky defeated Southern Miss 27-16 in the New Orleans Bowl. And Ohio defeated UNLV 17-10. I believe that was in the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl. I believe that was the 23rd. So Wednesday, December 24th, that was on Christmas Eve. Hawaii defeated California 35-31. And then yesterday, Northwestern defeated Central Michigan 34-7. Both teams finished with seven wins. So that was the game above Sports Bowl. And then the final overtime, Minnesota defeated New Mexico 20-17. New Mexico was finished 9-4, and Minnesota 8-5. And then in the Florida International versus UTSA, that was the SERPRO First Responders Bowl. UTSA defeated Florida International 57-20. So we got more games coming up next week. And if you watch this, give me a comment section, a like or whatever, because it'll be posted on, should be posted on YouTube. Anyway, so we're going to give you some other games for next week, and I'll come back and next week sometime and go over that again. For Monday, December the 29th, at 2 p.m. on ESPN, Georgia Southern will take on App State. Georgia Southern 6-6. App State is 5-7. They got on an APR or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, Georgia Southern is favored by 7, with the over and under of 59.5. And then next day, Tuesday, December 30th, Coastal Carolina taking on Louisiana Tech at 2 p.m. on ESPN. Well, they got both of them on ESPN, so one of them be on another network. But right now they got it's projected to be on ESPN at the same time. I don't think that's possible. Anyway, this is the Georgia Southern App State game is the J. Lab Birmingham Bowl, and the one that's coming up Tuesday on December 30th is the Radiance Technologies, long thing, but this the Independence Bowl. Coastal Carolina 6-6, Louisiana Tech is 7-5, and Louisiana Tech is favored by 9.5 with a total of 51.5. And then we have also on ESPN at 5:30, Tennessee taking on Illinois from the Southeastern Conference. Tennessee is, and y'all can pretty much guess. This will be at the Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. Like I said, Tennessee is 8-4, and Illinois is 8-4, with Tennessee favored by 2.5, with a total of over and under 61.5. Then at 9 o'clock on ESPN, we have number 16 USC 9-3 taking on TCU 8-4 in the Alamo Bowl, and the spread for that one is USC is a 6.5 point favorite. The total is 55.5. Then Wednesday, December 31st, the last day of the year, we have at 12 p.m. on ESPN. That'll be on New Year's Eve. Number 23, Iowa, 8-4, taking on number 14, Vanderbilt, 10-2 in the Relac West Bowl. The spread is Vandy by 4.5. That'll be at the Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Then at 2 p.m. is the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. And that'll be on CBS. Arizona State 8-4, taking on the ACC Duke Blue Devils 8-5. Spread Duke is minus 3.5 totals, over and under 45.5. Then we got Michigan and Texas at 3 p.m. on ABC. Number 18, Michigan, 9-3, taking on number 13, Texas, 9-3 in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. That'll be Michigan and Texas. And the spread for that one is Texas by 8.5, totals over and under 48.5. and the spread's 8.5 Texas. And then at 3:30 p.m. on ESPN, Nebraska 75 taking on number 15 Utah 10-2 in the Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. The spread for that one is Utah a favored by 14. Totals over and under is 50.5. Also, that'll be in the Las Vegas Bowl. Also coming up at 7:30. That's be next week on New Year's Eve, 7:30 p.m. ESPN. Number 10 Miami, 11-2, taking on number 2 Ohio State. This is the college football playoff quarterfinals at the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. So this is another round of college football playoffs. Also another round coming up the next day on Thursday, January the 1st, 2026, 12 p.m. ESPN. Number 5 Oregon, 12-1, taking on number 4 Texas Tech, 12-1. And that spread is Oregon by 2.5. Totals of 52.5 over and under. Then we have at 4 p.m. ESPN another quarterfinal game of the college football playoff, presented by Prudential, if I haven't said. Like I said, Alabama number 9 is 11-3. Number 1 Indiana is 13-0. They have not been defeated yet. They got the spread, Indiana by 6.5. Then another round that same day, coming up on the nightcap at 8 p.m. prime time, ESPN. Ole Miss 12-1, taking on Georgia. And another quarterfinal at the All-State Sugar Bowl. Spread, Georgia 6.5. Totals over and under 55.5. Then on Friday we have more bowls. January the 2nd, 2026. Rice is taking on Texas Tech. Rice is 5-7, got on by the APR. And Texas Tech 6-6. And the Armed Forces Bowl, Lockheed Marlin Armed Forces Bowl. Spread is Texas State is 11.5 point favorite. The over and under is 59.5. Then at 4:30 on ESPN, Navy 10-2. Taking on Cincinnati 7-6 in the Liberty Bowl. It's the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. The spread Navy by 7. Totals over and under 54.5. 8 p.m. Fox, Arizona. Number 17 in the country at 9-3, taking on ACC SMU. It was 8-4 in the Trust and Will Holiday Bowl. The spread Arizona by 3. Total over and under 51.5. And then the last game will be at 8 p.m. prime time on ESPN in the Duke's Mayo Bowl in Charlotte, North Carolina, Bank of America Stadium. Wake Forest out of the ACC against Mississippi State out of the SEC. 8-4, Wake Forest. Mississippi State 5-7 got on the APR. And actually, Wake Forest is not a favorite for some reason or another. Don't know why, but they got Mississippi by 3.5 with a total of 53.5. But as anyone knows, if you keep up with Wake Forest, they always play better when they're underdogs. So, but anyway, that's the what's going on today and other days. You know, I gave you all the other stuff, you know, that we're doing right now. So those of you can go back and look at this. These are not my spreads or predictions. out of the ACC or all the other games that I've been projecting. But we've been on now for 30 minutes, so I hope y'all enjoyed the games today. The next game is coming up shortly. So have a good day, and I'll see you soon. My name is David Lawson from the Big Time Game Day. My Big Time picks. If you go back and look at them, you'll see I didn't do any of the last one. So I'll update you on my final projected picks that I did throughout the season later on. But right now, enjoy the Big Time Game Day ACC Bowls plus others that'll be played today, and we'll catch you soon. I'm David Lawson. Have a good day.